So firstly, Jeremy, thank you and welcome. We're very grateful for you giving your time for us, absolutely. You have taken on the noble task of covering Ripple's court case against the SEC. Could you give us a little bit of an update and a reason for why you've decided to follow the case so closely?
Sure. So, first off, thanks for having me on. I have the dog here in your honor in the bottom corner, as you can see. And just to plug away, I've got the XRdoge keychain on my keys. So that's going to stay for at least a couple days, okay?
That's a good amount of time for crypto. That's not bad.
Yes. XRdoge, here we go. Anyway, as far as the lawsuit, we have a lot of things that are coming up, and I was kind of hoping by the time we were doing this interview or doing this discussion that I'd have something new to share, but nothing major has been filed. We do have pending a lot of rulings. The big one for me is the motion to strike the fair notice defense. If the SEC is successful in that motion, all of the stuff about the meetings and the memos and all the stuff that everyone on Twitter is talking about goes out the window. It becomes not relevant, because then really the only issue is whether XRP was sold as a security. So that's a humongous motion, and it's going to be a big ruling, and I expect it sometime this month. Just hasn't happened yet. We also have the individual defendants' motions to strike themselves out of the case altogether. So Garlinghouse and Larson have both filed motions saying that as a matter of law, you can't sue us, and they laid out reasons why, and the judge hasn't ruled on those yet. So if the judge grants those, then the case against Garlinghouse and Larson goes away. So we have all those big motions that are yet to be ruled on. We also have the SEC's motion to protect those 63 emails related to the Hinman speech, which if the judge, I think it's up on a reconsideration, which means they've asked the judge to reconsider her prior ruling, which allowed the Ripple to get those emails. There's 63 emails related to the 2018 Hinman speech, and the judge is going to rule on whether Ripple is allowed to get them or not. So that's something that we're waiting on. We also have the lawyer for the lawyer for Mr. Roisman with the SEC. Garlinghouse and Roisman met in 2018. There was a lawyer present, I think his name was Estabrook, that made notes of that meeting. That's the meeting where Garlinghouse left the meeting thinking, I'm feeling pretty good that we didn't do anything wrong. And he wants to get the Estabrook notes to corroborate what he said during that meeting. My feeling is that's a win-win for Ripple, because even if they get the notes, great, it's going to corroborate what Garlinghouse was thinking. If they don't get the notes, well, the only evidence is going to be what Garlinghouse testifies to, and that's going to be a win for Ripple no matter what. So, but we haven't had the ruling on that yet. So those are the 6 rulings that we're waiting on, and they should all be happening this month. So this month is going to be a big one in the lawsuit, and I'm really excited to see how the judge comes down on those rulings.
Yeah,
fabulous. Thank you.
They're trying very, very hard, the SEC, aren't they, to not give out those emails? Because am I right in thinking this is basically their third attempt at trying to get out of it?
Yeah, and I don't know if I've said this before, but in 20 years of legal practice, I've only filed that motion for reconsideration one time. Now, I'm a little bit different because I practice in front of the same judges over and over again. And what you're basically saying is, Judge, I went in front of you, I argued it, I told you everything about it, you got it wrong, and I'm going to give you a chance to fix your problem that you screwed up on. So it's a pretty kind of gutsy motion. Yeah. Wow. It's almost like you argue with your wife and you lose, and you come back to her the next day and say, hey, honey, maybe you should reconsider. Me flirting with the waitress wasn't that big a deal. You were wrong last night. You should reconsider what you did. It's just generally not a good idea. Right?
It's so gracious of you to give them another chance to see where they were wrong.
Yeah, it just doesn't play well. So that's why you do it very sparingly, in front of these judges, especially if you're in front of them a lot. Now, the SEC, might not care about that as much as I do, but it is very rare. So that's one thing that has kind of given me pause to say there's something in those emails that either destroys SEC's case or maybe, implicates them in some other way, I would lean more towards it really hurting their case. There might be something in there. For example, someone emailed Mr. Hinman and said, hey, what about XRP? Is that a security? And he said, yeah, we're not going to address that right now, or something like that. That would really hurt, I think, the SEC if those emails came out.
Do you think it's going to hurt their case, like coming against the judge 3 times, like coming against them and saying, no, I don't know the terminology you just used there, but do you think it's going to hurt their case in front of the judges, having done that so many times?
I think it would hurt. Here's the thing. It doesn't really affect this case. I think if you keep doing that, then you tend to irritate the judges, and the next time you're in front of them, the judge rolls their eyes and says, oh, it's this guy again, this jerk, So no, I don't think so. I think the judges are fairly professional, and they take these things in stride. As a lawyer, you get very thick skin, and as a judge, I'm sure you get very thick skin too, because everything I say in court, the other side says I'm stupid and I'm wrong. So it is how, everything you say. So
yeah,
that's just the nature of the practice. And that's why it's kind of a stressful career path to choose, because there's always someone yelling at you that you're stupid and wrong. So you just get...
a bit like being on Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got 2 for 1, Jeremy. Lucky boy.
Exactly. That's why Twitter doesn't bother me. It's exactly like Twitter.
Yeah.
There's always going to be
because some people get really triggered on there, and then you just see these arguments going down and down and down. It's terrible.
You got to learn to just roll off of it.
But with this case, then, obviously, like you mentioned, that a lot of things haven't come to a conclusion, and they are coming this month. Do you kind of have a prediction as to where it's going to go?
As far as who's going to win, who's going to lose?
Kind of, yeah. I guess it is early days still, but...
Yeah. Well, the one thing I would tell you about litigation in court is that you really need to look at shades of gray. There's a lot of cases, there's no winner and there's no loser. There's just an ending of the litigation. And so you kind of got to get away from black and white. Now, is it possible you have a black and white ending where at the end of the case, the judge says, XRP was not sold as a security. It's not a security now. Ripple, you win. SEC, you lose. Goodbye. It's possible, but I'll tell you what, in most litigation, that almost never happens. That's very, very, very rare. It's almost always shades of gray. So, you could have a bunch of different, there's almost an infinite amount of possibilities here in this case. You could have a situation where, sales of XRP up to the Hinman speech are considered sales of a security. You could have that same finding, but at the same time, a finding that the SEC has to prove jurisdiction over those transactions with U.S. citizens, which is one of the issues in the lawsuit, where these securities sold to U.S. citizens, because if they're sold to someone in France, for example, Emma, that's not under the SEC's jurisdiction. So you could have a ruling that says sales of XRP up to 2018 were a security, but SEC, we're now going to have to bifurcate another issue out of this litigation, and now you're going to have to prove which sales were to what. And so you could have all just different possibilities. And that's usually what you see in litigation. And that's why settlements are so popular in litigation, because it's the only way where you take control of your own destiny. And that's what I tell my clients when I say, look, maybe we should settle this case. Because if you don't, the judge can kind of conjure up all these different possibilities, something you don't even expect to happen. And the SEC could be in a position where they're having to chase after every single transaction, look on the blockchain and hire forensic experts to try to trace that sale to a U.S. citizen, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on that, and never have any guarantee of any resolution. So that's why the most likely scenario is that there's some type of settlement. And that's not just in this case, that's in 95% of cases. They all end in settlement, 95%. This does have the hallmark of a case that could go all the way, mainly because Ripple has the funds. And right now, the SEC doesn't have any impetus to settle. The one thing I would tell you is that Ripple has the impetus to settle. They want to get this thing over with so they can do their IPO, build their business. Private companies are always that way. What's the SEC's impetus to settle? Right now, they don't have any. They're sitting pretty, all they have to do is just wait and chill, and there's really no downside. Now, the next impetus to settle that I see would be a loss on the notice of strike, the fair notice defense. The reason why that's important is because if the fair notice defense survives and it makes its way all the way to the judge, then the fair notice defense, a loss on the fair notice defense, puts the SEC in a really bad position, because what the judge would be saying is that you didn't give fair notice to all these market participants over the last 10 years. And so that becomes case precedent. And any other lawsuit that the SEC files, that company could take that case precedent and throw it at the SEC and say, look, you didn't give us fair notice. The judge in the SEC Ripple case already said so. And that really hurts the SEC, because that will impair their ability to bring any other lawsuit against any other crypto company. I mean, with an ICO, yeah, you would have some different facts because Ripple didn't have an ICO. And if there was a company that had an ICO, maybe they could say that doesn't apply because we said in the Hinman speech that the ICO is problematic. But it really hurts them if they lose on the fair notice defense. So I think you're not going to see any kind of settlement until you get that ruling on the fair notice defense, that motion to strike. If it survives, well, now we have something that the SEC can lose, and now they have an impetus to settle. There has to be some kind of motivation behind a settlement, because if a party like the SEC doesn't have any motivation, they just won't do it.
They'll just keep going.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, though, isn't it? Because it's a case that is really important for the crypto industry as a whole, because, like you say, it can set a precedent that will then have repercussions on all other cases. And I think it's come at a very interesting time as well, because within crypto now, we're seeing movements to regulate crypto, to tax crypto in India. We're seeing 30%, South Africa seeing regulations. The States, obviously, Biden, I believe it's February that, things are starting to move, aren't they, to regulate in the US. And I just wonder, these things are all going to have a massive effect on crypto. And I wonder how you see this regulation, this taxation. Do you see it as a positive in making crypto kind of more of a recognized currency, or do you see it just as a negative? How do you see it affecting it?
It's a really good question. It's an interesting question. And I was actually it was just flittering across my brain this morning. And it's interesting because you don't want regulation of crypto. The thing that makes crypto exciting, and the 10, what do they call it? 10 times when something goes up 10 times? I don't know.
Oh, 10x?
10x, thank you. Yeah. 10x, the thing that makes all those things exciting is the relatively unregulated nature of crypto, right? But at the same time, it just can't last because you have to have a regulation of assets like this in order for it to survive. You just can't have something left unregulated, especially in the US nowadays, and it just won't survive because the governments will want to control it, they'll want to tax it. And if you don't have regulation, then what's going to happen is it's going to become used for everything that it shouldn't be used for. And then the government's going to find a reason it can jump on it. Right. So, yeah. So you need regulation. I think the key is you need well thought out and different regulation. I don't think you can apply the securities laws as they're written to cryptocurrencies. It's just not going to work because the cryptocurrency world is just too different from the regular, I have a company and I'm selling you shares of my company world. The current laws don't fit into that mold as much as they're trying to squeeze that round circle into the square peg, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's been a while, since my kids were young, so I forget how that works. But that's what they're trying to do, and it's not going to work.
How did you kind of come to the XRP world? How did you end up? I know you don't represent this case, but you know what I mean, on Twitter and everything.
Yeah. We had Legal Briefs, the YouTube channel, and we were mainly doing it for SEO for our website because someone had told us, do a YouTube channel, talk about legal issues. Google likes it, it'll increase your website. So we were doing it for a long time, and we would get 500 views on the video. We do something on bankruptcy, something on immigration, just general stuff, and it was kind of going okay, and we were just having fun with it. And then I saw I was involved in crypto in 2019, late 2019 when I started. And then I just was getting more and more interested, especially with the pandemic. I had a little more time to read some books. I was reading some books on it. I saw the lawsuit come down, and I went online, and I saw that it was just kind of gloom and doom online. This was late December. The world, sky's falling, XRP is going to die, it's going to go to zero. We're all in hell. So I looked at the lawsuit, and I was like, it's just not the case. I mean, the SEC has a tough road to hoe here, and as far as proving all this stuff. They say that a good prosecutor can indict a ham sandwich because all you have to do is allege things. So you can, I could say, Alex, isn't it true that, on the night of, March 6th, you went with your spouse to the grocery store and did thereby conspire to shop for the cheapest fares possible. You can make anything sound horrible. I mean, all you're doing is saying that the guy's going shopping with his wife. You phrase it the right way, you can make anything sound like you're committing a federal crime. And that's what these lawsuits are, and that's what the SEC lawsuit was. It's just a bunch of allegations. Now, it's the proving the allegations that's the hard part. So when I looked at the lawsuit, I was like, look, they make it sound all horrible, but if you read between the lines, all this is some company doing their business, right? And the SEC is going to have to prove each and every one of these points. So I saw that. I was interested in crypto. I had done a crypto video about something else before. So I was like, I'm going to do a video about the lawsuit. So I did one, and I said basically that. I said, these are a bunch of allegations. It's not a done deal. This is still a hard case for the SEC to win. And, my normal videos get 500, 600 views. It had 10,000 views, like, within a couple hours. I was like, oh, okay. there's
People want to know.
I remember the comfort of coming across that video soon after the, obviously the price had tanked. And, it was what a lot of people, first of all, needed, but it happened to obviously have substance behind it. It wasn't just some soothsaying, but even that would have been probably enough for people in the short term. But, obviously, as there were so many very good points that yourselves were noticing in the case, then obviously it's taken on a life of its own, hasn't it? And there's been so much for you to kind of get your teeth into, and then do it in your classic legal briefs style, and getting all the kind of cool, unexpected.
Alex's proudest moment on Twitter.
Doing the legal brief.
Alex, your joke.
Oh yeah, that's right. You probably don't remember, Jeremy. It was something, you made a video that was a bit longer, and you said it should be called Legal Longs, and I commented that as long as you keep your legal long inside your legal briefs, we'll be all right.
No, that was you. I do remember that.
He tells the story often, Jeremy. We've all heard it.
Well, I think I do a good job with it because I'm really not that bright. I really don't think I'm that bright, at least. So I literally have to dumb everything down, even if just for myself. So I just think that way in everything I do. So I like to say, look, in this lawsuit, there's 3 issues. There's whether XRP is a security, there's the fair notice defense, and there's the jurisdiction. Can they prove SEC sold it to U.S. citizens? I can boil everything down to that really simple for me, because in order for me to remember it and think about it, I have to boil it down to that level for myself. So I think just because I'm not like the person that thinks on multiple levels. I'm not like the big chess strategist. I just kind of make it simple for myself. And then when I do the videos, I keep it simple for everyone else as well.
It's really good actually, because sometimes, it's like you say, you read those papers and it's all legal jargon, and it's all really quite, it's quite dense for us, for people who aren't lawyers. We read it and we're just like, oh my God, get away. So it's really nice to have somebody be able to put it in layman's terms in a way that we can actually understand it, and like Alex says, actually make you feel a lot more peaceful about it and a lot more relaxed. And you probably did a lot for the value of the coin as well. You put people's minds at ease, and they're going to be more interested in buying the coin and holding or handling the coin. So.
That being said, I'm a little worried now that the pendulum has swung a little too far to this side, and this has started to kind of bug me the last couple of weeks, because at the end of the day, we're just having to judge one person make this determination. So I see on Twitter, Vicky, you see these people on Twitter like, we're going to win, it's 100%, it's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
SEC
boom.
Yeah, boom. There's no guarantees in litigation. There really isn't. So we can't be too we can't let the pendulum swing a little bit too much that way. The problem is if you try to swing it back towards the middle, then people get mad at you. So you have to
Absolutely. I don't know if you've ever thought about if you were to release your own crypto coin. Everyone, I'm sure, has had a think. What would I call it? What if I was to release a coin? What would I go for? So I don't know if you've ever had a thought about what name you would go with.
Jeremy Doge? Is that? I don't know.
So
I definitely would want to be a dog or an animal of some sort. So here's what it would be. Okay, I got it. Actually, I got it. So my wife thinks I look like Jiminy Cricket.
Okay.
So if you pull up a picture, like there, that's my angle where I look like Jiminy Cricket. If you pull up this picture, you're gonna see it. And so, and my kids love it because they think I look like Jiminy Cricket also. So I would be called I'd be the Jiminy token.
I love that. I just got a picture up, and I'm not gonna lie, I can definitely see the resemblance. That's brilliant. I love it.
Thanks, Emma. Thank you.
well, one way which we thought, I don't know if you ever played this game at school, but we used to play a slightly different tone of game. So if we were to name your crypto coin, what was the name of your first pet?
My first dog was Muffin.
Muffin. And what was the last thing that you ate?
I had a salad for lunch, so a salad.
Okay, so your coin would be muffin salad, which could sound particularly interesting in some way.
Oh, but Jiminy
So
Cricket.
my coin would be smoky sausage, which is
Okay.
equally as dodgy, I think.
Where is this conversation going here? I don't know.
So many questions.
Wow, mine would be poppy cornflakes. So
Oh, nice.
That's
I
G-rated.
like that one.
Very
And
G-rated.
Emma, what would yours be?
Ooh. Well, it can either be Sid sausage instead of Sid Barrett, or it could be Sid Cottage. It was a bit of a random thing, but I think I'm going to go with Sid sausage. Yeah.
There we go.
these
So
coins
that-
are going to
one
the
way-
moon, mate.
That could be one way to pick a name. So that is our crypto name game.
Gotcha.
I don't think
And
it's
then Emma,
I
sorry.
don't think it's any more insane than some of the coins that are actually named.
Well, yeah, there are some very interesting ones out there with some very interesting logos, which I think may have been dreamt up in the pub or playing a similar game.
Absolutely. Jeremy, may I just say that Jiminy Cricket is a very suave cricket, so it is definitely not fancy.
Yeah.
It's a great look. And the picture
Yeah.
that he's pulling a great little pose. And
Yeah.
I think it's a good look.
But like Emma, you know, everywhere I go, I'm with 3 women, my wife and my 2 girls. So they just love, I think the only joy they get in life is teasing me. So I just let it happen.
It's got to happen. Well, you know, careful because they might be introduced to. My sister is a lot younger than me, and she has discovered filters a long time ago. But she found this one that basically will superimpose your face on like a Disney character. So, for example, she superimposed my father's face onto Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
Ah, yes, we did that with my grandma.
Oh my god! But he looks amazing because he's got a bit of a beard and a handlebar thing going on, and she just sent it to everybody. So I think you should introduce your daughters to that girl.
Well, they did the app where they take a picture of you and it tells you what Disney character you look like, and I came up Quasimodo.
Oh no!
True story.
You go, oh well, you know, Quasimodo, Jiminy Cricket, 2 very different approaches.
Yes. Alex, I've never been interviewed like this before, Alex. What are you brought me into?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. My apologies.
That's our appeal. Off the wall.
Now we're a little bit competitive, Jeremy. So we're hoping you might be able to help us, because obviously XRdoge is a meme coin, and meme coins come with memes, and we've each chosen our favourite meme of the week.
It was difficult.
Yeah, it was a difficult challenge. I was trying to choose one that wasn't rude. So we're hoping that you may be able to pick which one you think is the best meme of the week.
Okay.
No pressure. I love it. So, meme number 1. Go for it.
So this is my meme that I have chosen, the Doge Boys World Tour, and it is our belief at XRdoge that we are the missing link in those, and that we belong very much up there. So this could be the posters. Though to be fair, I would change the year, but I didn't make the meme. So that's us.
So that's number 1.
Up there with the best.
Choice number 1. Got it.
Scroll through all the messages. Well done. No! Ali is great, but
That's it.
chose this one after a couple of glasses of wine, I think.
Obviously.
All right.
Like, poor kid.
Well, he's hodling. He's loving life. And I think we can all relate to this unhealthy habit.
Yeah, I think this is my husband. Every so often I wake up in the night and I'm, what are you doing?
Checking the whatever. Yeah. There's another one that uses. See that picture on top? There's a meme that it's like the same picture, and then there's like a thought bubble from her. Like, is he thinking of other women? And there's a thought bubble
I like
from
that
him.
one.
What's the price of XRP doing today, or something?
Yeah. I think there's a Bitcoin version. Yeah, no, there's a good one. I like that one. So there we go. Those are our memes of the week.
Yes. Well, I have to say that second one. It's got to be the winner.
See, I actually didn't go with that when I changed my mind because I thought these guys, they were like, no, it's not the funny one, so I changed it. But I'm glad that you chose that one, Mark.
That's what memes are for. Memes are that, people, they get their bad press, but it is a bit of fun in a dark world sometimes.
100%. And it's needed. It's really needed.
So
actually, problem was a term I only learned because of that meme. So they're also educational. I didn't know that term before. It's amazing.
Oh, there you go. You're surrounded by teachers and you're learning. So, Vicky, you have a little bit of good news for Jeremy.
Yeah, we have a thank you, which is going to come from all the way from Jersey to you. So Alex noticed something a couple of months ago, didn't you, Alex?
I did. You, much to the excitement of our community, suddenly donned some XRdoge sunglasses in your profile photo on Twitter, which was cool because no one quite knew what was going on, but everyone was very happy, and that got us thinking for what Vicky's about to present.
So we have for you, which are going to come all the way from my little island. So it's tricky to see, but they are the official XRdoge ones. So they have XRdoge.
Look at that. Wow.
But we know that that your wife also works very hard with you. So we also have a pair for her. So we have a ladies version. So we have the his and hers. So you and your wife can rock the XRdoge look, but with the actual Ray-Bans. But also as a thank you for you, because we know you're extremely busy, and lots of people ask for your time, and we do absolutely appreciate not just joining us today, but also all that you do to help us with understanding what is happening, especially at the moment, but just supporting as you do and explaining. Very much appreciated by our community. So
thanks so much, guys. Yeah, you really didn't have to. But it just so happens that my sunglasses are kind of getting wearing out and like the paint's rubbing off and everything. So perfect timing.
There we go.
And somehow you haven't let the Twitter world turn you into a jaded person, because you're so approachable on there and so friendly to people, and it's quite rare in a lot of people. So I think, it does get noticed, man. So kudos to you.
Thanks. Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. This is a lot of fun.
Going to the moon and far beyond. Flying on our own exchange. I know that we're here to stay. Going to the moon.